Patch notes, Year 9, Season 4.2. Now we're starting it off with Buck. While hard breach charges are useful for opening a couple of reinforcements, Buck's primary role is soft breaching with the skeleton key. This role is almost always needed, and the hard breach charges gave him too much flexibility, making him a one-man army in many situations. By removing them, we aim to encourage more cooperation among team members. Additionally, equipping Buck with claymores can enhance his utility. Instead of taking on multiple roles, he can focus on his primary job more safely. Buck can secure key entry points and prevent roamers from sneaking up on him or his team. This allows him to maintain control over the map, ensuring that enemies are either killed, deterred, or forced to reveal their position if they attempt to flank. So in short, they just removed his hard breach, gave him claymores. I guess they just don't want him to be able to do way too much, which he definitely was very good at. My biggest issue is now I feel like that's just going to turn into zero. So we'll see how that plays out. Do I think this is a good change? I mean, for the core gameplay, yeah, this is probably a good change, but Buck mains are probably gonna really dislike this. Moving into Kapkan, we have decided to replace Kapkan's nitro cell with barbed wire to reduce his killing potential. As his EDDs are already enough explosives and are quite effective, the barbed wire will enhance Kapkan's ability to delay and disturb attackers' progress through the map, emphasizing area denial over lethality. It can be used to block or control key pathways, forcing attackers to take alternative routes where EDDs might be placed. The strategic placement can funnel attackers into more predictable and dangerous areas. So they just removed his C4, giving him Barb. I think this will affect a lot of maybe like mid-skilled players. I'm thinking maybe silver to, honestly, let's even go clear down just to copper to maybe emerald. Kapkan isn't that effective in high ranks, so I don't think this will affect like diamond to champ players, but everybody else I think will feel a pretty big impact by this. Moving on to Legion. We believe that Legion currently exerts too much map control too quickly due to the number of mines he can deploy per round. The strategic placement of these mines are effectively countering the removal of their cloaking, which means some of the buffs we introduced along that change are no longer necessary. At present, Legion can cover up to 5 entry points within the first minute of action phase. By adjusting the refill time, this will be reduced by 1. Fewer mines will force Legion players to be more strategic about where and when they place their mines. They will need to prioritize high traffic areas and key objectives rather than spreading mines more liberally across the map. This adjustment will also make easier... They have a typo. This adjustment will also make it easier for attackers to navigate the map without the constant threat of stepping on a goo mine, allowing them more freedom to move quickly and aggressively, and making it more challenging for Legion to control the pace of the game. Base stats, they're lowering his max mines from 9 to 8, and they're making the refill time 30 seconds from 25 seconds. Moving on to Oryx. Previously, the recovery time after using his dash were long enough for attackers to react and potentially eliminate him. By reducing them, Oryx can capitalize on the element of surprise more consistently and make more effective use of his mobility without being too vulnerable. This change enhances his ability to disrupt enemy plans and maintain pressure on attackers, making him more viable and competitive operator. The new timings will also synergize really well with the recently buffed Spaz 12, as it is more comfortable to use and will be very reliable to finish enemies, and be more consistent against ballistic shields. So the changes to Remadash are that weapon recovery time after dashing is reduced to 0.2 seconds from 0.5. Weapon recovery time after dashing against a wall is reduced to 0.3 seconds from 0.5. Weapon recovery time after dashing against an enemy is reduced to 0.1 seconds from 0.5. I genuinely don't see how they think that this is going to make Oryx like a playable character. I feel like that's not the issue that people have with Oryx. It's just that he's pretty pointless. Like, his ability in general is just not good. Moving on to Ram, the Buggy Auto Breacher is one of the most destructive gadgets available, capable of destroying a wide range of objects and surfaces while allowing Ram to remain in a safe position or be ready to act on the destruction created. Her ability to clear entire ceilings in a split second and displace defenders below is unparalleled. We believe this should be her main focus, leaving more precise destruction to other soft breachers. Therefore, we have decided to remove the Ida from her loadout. So in short, they just removed her secondary Ida. I don't think this will affect her that much if I'm being completely honest, but it is kind of, you know, it's a nerf at the end of the day, but not a big deal. Moving on to Sledge, the soft breach ecosystem has evolved significantly since we implemented the armor and speed reshuffle at the end of year 7. With the introduction of RAM and the frag grenade changes at the end of year 8, it is now time to reassess the entire ecosystem. Given the new situation, we believe that enhancing Sledge's speed will be more advantageous than focusing on his survivability. As Sledge is the only operator who needs to be in close proximity to the target surface, increased speed will aid him in rotating quickly when his secondary utility is required elsewhere. Buck offers the most flexibility capable of playing from bottom to top, RAM boasts the highest destruction potential with minimal risk, and Sledge stands out for his precision and reliability. We believe that the changes made to them will create a more balanced ecosystem where each of them has its own space in the meta. So they're changing him to a 2-2 instead of a 3 armor, which I don't know how to feel about this. I know a lot of people are probably going to like this, but when you're specifically doing vertical, the extra health is really helpful because for the most part, you're just getting shot in your feet. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a buff. But let me know, are you going to play Sledge more with this change? Me personally, I don't think it's going to matter. So for weapon balancing, they're looking at slug shotguns, it seems. Back in year 9 season 1, when we normalized the damage drop off of every weapon to match its weapon class, the BUFFED 12.2 was one of the exceptions cleared. As a result, its damage drop-off changed from starting at 10 meters to 25 meters and ending at 18 meters to 35 meters. With some time now in the live servers, we believe the slug shotgun class is not performing as intended, which it's obviously not because they're basically snipers. Our initial goal was to create something between a shotgun and a DMR, but the data shows they are closer to the latter, with the BUFFED 12.2 being the most prominent example. Therefore, we have decided to adjust their damage drop-off again to align more closely with regular shotguns. This adjustment will maintain their lethality as short to mid-range while reducing their effectiveness in long-range engagements. However, the magnified scopes will remain to facilitate landing more precise shots. So for the base stats, the damage drop-off start is reduced to 15 meters from 25, the damage drop-off end reduced to 25 meters from 35, damage at maximum range reduced to 60 from 70. Destruction range is also reduced. So they also have Deimos being affected by this, but they only applied the destruction change because it uses the same caliber, but the damage configuration is unchanged. Which is a little bit odd, but I guess like that won't matter at all in my opinion. But I guess we'll see how it plays out. Anyways, jumping into the G36C. During Year 8 Season 4.2, the G36 became one of the attacker weapons with a higher KD ratio. At that time, we increased its recoil, which significantly impacted its popularity. Currently, Yana chooses it in approximately 40% of the rounds, while Ash uses it only 2% of the rounds. We are proposing a new recoil adjustment to make the weapon more appealing while maintaining its killing performance. The new recoil setting will be a middle ground between its states before Year 8 Season 4.2 and its pre-patch configuration. So on PC and console, they're just reducing the recoil in general, both vertical and horizontal. Jumping into the TCS G12, the weapon has been performing very well since the last changes. However, the new tweak to the slug shotgun class might cause it to underperform. To compensate for this, we are increasing the base damage to ensure it remains as effective as before at long range. So they're just increasing its damage from 63 to now 75, and the operators affected are Goyo and Cade.